Evaluate integral of 6 times sine 3y times e raised to 2y dy. We have a product of two functions sine. In fact, this 6 can be pulled all the way outside, and we can multiply the final answer by 6. So we have a product. So we want to use the method integration by parts, which is when we have u times dv, integral of u times dv is uv minus integral of v times du. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to forget 6 for now and let the integral be without 6, because 6 can be pulled outside, and at the final line I'll multiply by 6 to get the final answer. Sine 3y times e raised to 2y dy. Okay, here's a product. Now the choice of u and dv, in this case it doesn't matter because it's the trig function and exponential function, so we can choose one factor as u and the remaining dv. Okay, so let u be sine 3y. Okay, this is u and remaining dv, and dv be e raised to 2y dy. And to use this formula we need to find the derivative of this with respect to y, du over dy. I'm going to write dy over here, and derivative of sine 3y is cosine 3y times derivative of 3y, which is 3. I'm going to write in the front. Okay, and integrate both sides. V equals antiderivative of e 2y is e raised to 2y divided by 2. Then this integral, okay, without the factor 6, this integral is equal to, using this formula we get u v, so u times v sine 3y times e raised to 2y over 2 minus integral of v times dy du. Okay, v du. So when we multiply 2 and 3, so this is 3 halves cosine 3y e raised to 2y and dy. Okay, let's simplify. So 2, we can write 1 half sine 3y times e raised to 2y minus 3 halves can be pulled outside, cosine 3y times e raised to 2y dy. Okay, now we still have a product of two functions. So to integrate this product we need to use the integration by parts, IBP, integration by parts, one more time here. Okay, so let's use integration by parts here for just this one. Okay, let u be, now we have to be consistent with the earlier choice. Earlier we chose sine, it's the trig function as u, so we have to keep u equals cosine 3y, and dv be the remaining e raised to 2y dy. Let's find the derivative. Cosine is negative sine 3y times 3, so I'm going to put in the front, so minus 3 du over dy. I'm going to write dy over here. Integrate, v equals e raised to 2y over 2. Okay, we are using integration by parts just for this integral. Then we get this equals our integral without 6, so I equals, the integral equals 1 half sine 3y times e raised to 2y minus 3 halves. So we are going to use integration by parts formula, 3 halves, so put the bracket because we need to distribute negative 3 halves in a moment. Using this integration by parts formula we get uv minus integral of v du. So u v, u times v, that's 1/2. I'm writing half is 1 divided by 2 is 1/2 cosine 3y e raised to 2y uv minus integral of v times du. So this times this is a -3, that makes positive, and when we multiply 3 and 3/2, we can pull that outside. That's sine 3y e raised to 2y and dy. But this is exactly the same question we started with, sine 3y times e2y dy. So that's, let's close this bracket. This is in fact our integral. So I'm going to write this as I. That's the integral I. Okay, and I'm going to distribute this -3/2 because we have two terms here and here. We get integral I equals, okay, instead of writing the whole integrals, I'm just writing I, 1/2 sine 3y times e raised to 2y minus 3/2. Let's distribute -3/2 times 1/2, -3 over 4 3/4 cosine 3y e raised to 2y minus plus minus 3/2 times 3/2, 3 9/4, and this thing is, now we are saying I, just the integral, the original question, without 6, without the factor 6. Okay, now this is -9/4 I, and we have one I, one integral. This is the same question integral, but 9/4. Now we can move this to the left side. Okay, so we add 9/4 of the integral both sides, 9/4 of the integral. Then how many copies of integral we get here? 1I plus 9/4 I. 1 means 4/4 plus 9/4, 4/4 plus 9/4, 13/4 I. 13/4 I equals, and I forgot to write plus c, by the way, because at the end we have to have plus c. 1/2 sine 3y e raised to 2y minus 3/4 cosine 3y e raised to 2y plus c. Okay, now we can isolate I means the integral without the factor 6. So I equals, so we need to multiply, we need to divide by 13 over 4, which is same as multiply by 4 over 13. Okay, then 4 over 13, 13 over 4 cancel, this I, 4 over 13 times 1/2. So 2 goes 4 2 times, so 2 over 13. 1/2 times 4/13 is 2/13 sine 3y e raised to 2y minus, let's multiply 4/13, 3/4, 4 4 cancel, 3/13, -3/13 cosine 3y e raised to 2y plus 4/13 times c. That will be a new constant. We could have said c1, and this times c1 is, say, let's say a new constant c2, because we need to multiply by 6 later and we'll write the final answer as c. So let's say c2. So 4/13 times c1 is c2. That's the integral we wrote without this 6, because the question is this 6. Now we multiply by 6 and we get the final answer. Thus integral of 6, what is the question? 6 sine 3y e to y, sine 3y e to y dy equals 6 times this. Okay, 6 times whatever we have here. That's the final answer. 2 over 13 sine 3y e raised to 2y minus 3 over 13 cosine 3y e raised to 2y plus c2. We can distribute this 2. Okay, then write down the final answer. 6 times to 13th, 12 13th, sine 3y e 2y minus 6 times 3 18, 13th, cosine 3y e 2y plus 6 c2, and we can say that's a new constant c. Final.